and thank you for joining us. I'm Beth Jones.
And I'm Peter Dubois. Today felt like a picture-perfect summer day out there, even though it's technically not summer just yet.
And as folks crank up the AC, leaders with New England's power systems say they are ready to meet that increased demand. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard has the story.
Well, ISO New England has been preparing for the summer months leading up to this time because it's when we tend to see the highest demand for electricity in the region.
According to Mary Kate Colapietro, the spokesperson for ISO New England, one way to think about the electric grid is like a road system. ISO New England is like the interstate highway system, keeping electricity moving between the states based off of supply and demand. Maine's power companies, CMP and Versant, are like the roads handled by municipalities, keeping electricity flowing to our houses. Typically, more electricity is used in the summer months, which could put a strain on the electric grid. Colapietro says they are prepared for that strain.
When the weather gets warmer, folks are going to plug in their fans, run their air conditioners, and so that's when we tend to see the highest needs for electricity. So in advance of the summer months, our forecasters are taking into account the weather. We have 23 weather monitoring stations all across the New England region that are incorporated into this forecast. And that way we can take a look and see how much demand we are expected to have.
In order to prepare, Colapietro says it takes a lot of coordination between states in the New England region.
And we're in contact with the power producers in the region. ISO New England doesn't own any electric generating facilities, but we're in touch with them to ensure that there's going to be the power there to meet the demand.
According to Colapietro, ISO New England was able to secure around 30,000 megawatts for the grid during the summer, well above what they expect to see.
We're anticipating a peak of about 24,553 megawatts. And to give you an idea of that number in context, 1 megawatt of electricity can serve about 750 to 1,000 homes here in New England.
As long as electricity stays within their forecast, customers in the region shouldn't see any interruptions in power during peak usage. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Hannaford Supermarkets has issued a recall for one of its private brands of trail mix at select stores in Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts due to a potential labeling error. The 12-ounce packages of indulgent trail mix purchased between November 1st, 2023 and June 3rd, 2024 may be missing the tree nut allergen specification on the label. The sell-by date for the trail mix is October 1st of 2024. Customers who purchase the product have the option to return it to their local Hannaford for a full refund. The impacted products have since been removed from store shelves. So far, there have been no reports of illness or injury. For a full list of impacted stores, you can visit hannaford.com/product recalls.
More than a dozen companies are being sued over their connection to so-called forever chemicals. The Portland Water District is hoping to hold them accountable. Mal Meyer reports.
The Portland Water District says PFAS have not been found in area drinking
yeah, what was
water.
that? Why do they even have that on their website?
We do see PFAS in the wastewater.
It's now suing 3M and DuPont, among others. The suit alleges the companies designed, manufactured, marketed, distributed, and or sold the products, knowing the toxic compounds would be released into the environment and ultimately reaching the wastewater system.
It's really hard to escape PFAS in the products that are out there.
They're in all kinds of products, like nonstick coatings on cookware, food packaging, cosmetics, and firefighting foam. This suit looks to recover the cost of PFAS mitigation in wastewater treatment. In the long term, the Portland Water District says that could cost tens, even hundreds of millions of dollars.
It's very significant. So that's why it's important for us to pursue the people that gave us this pollution.
In a statement, 3M says it will address PFAS litigation by defending itself in court or through negotiated resolutions, all as appropriate. But it's not just companies facing potential legal action over this national problem. One group here in Maine is also going after the U.S. EPA.
We want to make sure all farmers can be protected, all communities can be protected in terms of their drinking water.
The Maine Organic Farmers and Gardeners Association took a step last month to possibly sue the Environmental Protection Agency for failing to regulate the use of contaminated sludge under the Clean Water Act. It's been used by farmers for decades.
Our notice of intent to file a lawsuit is really to spur the action.
And that was Mal Meyer reporting. Senator Angus King is expressing concerns over a recently finalized rule on staffing levels at nursing homes. The new rule, which has not gone into effect yet, requires an increase in minimum staffing levels at facilities in an effort to make residents safer. But Senator King says the people aren't there to hire and that this will ultimately lead to more closures and less care for senior citizens and veterans.
It's a classic example of the best being the enemy of the good, where they want to improve staffing levels. That's fine. Except right now, every nursing home in Maine and the country is hurting for staff, for CNAs and for nurses. So passing a rule like this will have the only practical effect will be fewer nursing home beds. And I just think that's ridiculous.
The new rule will not take effect for a few more years, and in the interim, Senator King hopes to see a Congressional Review Act, which gives Congress the power to potentially repeal the rule.
College and university leaders from across the country came together for the University of Maine's annual summit on hazing prevention, sharing their efforts to stop hazing at high schools and colleges nationwide. Our Grace Blanchard shares more.
The annual Hazing Prevention Consortium Summit returned to the University of Maine, where leading researchers from the state and across the nation are promoting more sustainable approaches to campus hazing prevention.
Hazing is any activity expected of someone joining or participating in a group that humiliates, degrades, abuses, or endangers them, regardless of that person's willingness to participate.
The summit is held each year by Stop Hazing, an organization that works to promote safe and inclusive schools that are free from hazing.
National research showed that up to 55% of college students who belong to clubs, teams, and organizations had experienced hazing.
The Hazing Prevention Consortium is a first-of-its-kind multi-year initiative that helps colleges create research to practice strategies to reduce hazing.
We are a research-based 3-year program, and we're the only initiative that takes a campus-wide and public health approach to preventing hazing.
According to their research, 3 in 5 college students will experience hazing.
Hazing at its core is a form of interpersonal violence, and so we are preventing students from being harmed and, at its worst, killed by hazing.
Since 2013, nearly 40 post-secondary institutions have participated in their initiative, and they hope to partner with many more.
As the momentum continues and more folks get involved and are doing the work, then the more safer, healthier, connected communities we're all going to be able to build.
In Orono, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A business in Bar Harbor was damaged when a car ran into it this morning. The 18-year-old driver from Ellsworth was in the parking lot of Melt at 27 Main Street just before 10. Police say she was trying to put the car in reverse and went into drive instead. The driver wasn't injured, but police say the section of the building that was impacted, though not occupied, suffered substantial damage.
All right, and looking outdoors, we mentioned off the top of the show, just a great day to be outside if you have the chance.
Yeah, it was really awesome. It was definitely pretty toasty outside, but you know, we've sort of been thirsting for the summer weather. We've had a good amount of it lately.
We have.
You know, we hope that there's more on the way, but you know, we'll have to see.
Yes, we will indeed.
All right, so let's go ahead and get a first check of our forecast.
Here we go. Your first weather is brought to you by Physical Therapy and Balance Centers, providing relief to people who are experiencing issues with pain, dizziness, or balance. Physical is specifically because they are different. Let's talk about the weather, and here we go. Highs back near 80 today, except right along the coastal areas and down east areas as well. But overall, so same story tomorrow, followed by a big change getting in here on Thursday with some much cooler temperatures on the way. Now there are a few high clouds across the region. There could be a sprinkle tonight. Most of us will not see that. The bigger deal, though, is off to the west of us, and there is a big mess in the west headed our way, and that could bring us, 3-4 days of rainfall around here, especially Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It looks like a wet and cooler weekend is on the way for our area. Our forecast then tonight, they're looking at mostly cloudy skies, partly cloudy skies, low temperatures down near 57. Your full forecast is coming up.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, an educator from the Winterport Middle School is being honored with a prestigious award.
And 15 Mainers are getting the chance of a lifetime to head to Japan for some research. We'll explain with those stories and more when we come back.
You've always known what you wanted, no matter how far down the road it looked. We're here to help you get there. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
While politicians talked, President Trump fought for working people. He took on China and secured the border. I'm Austin Terrio, former NASCAR driver and small business owner. I'm proud to have President Trump's endorsement. Together we'll secure the border, stop Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and bring back American manufacturing. I'll fight to make sure our best days are ahead.
Endorsed by President Trump. Austin Terrio for Congress.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
When Detail 207 wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. From cars and trucks to big rigs and motorcycles, Detail 207 does it all. If it has wheels and isn't as clean as you'd like it to be, give them a call to schedule an appointment today.
I've been with US Cellular for 27 years. They've always taken care of me. But when they asked me to talk to you about their special customer event, Us Days, I said, I gotta get in shape. So they sent me this Hollywood trainer. Oh, this guy's no joke. Us Days means exclusive deals just for us customers.
Now let's try burpees.
Us Days is back at US Cellular. Current customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet.
Our biggest challenge? Uncertainty. Hidden fees, surcharges, who knows what to expect.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep it simple with clear upfront pricing.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
It's a culinary battle of the ages.
Gen Z.
Which generation is going to win it all?
MasterChef Generations, all new Wednesdays on Fox.
You've lived quite a life. Now, it's time to live it up. We're here to help you enjoy all you've earned. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
You can join Fox 22 and ABC 7 online at foxbangor.com. Be a part of the conversation on Twitter and join our Facebook family at Fox ABC Maine. Follow, like, watch. Download the new Fox Bangor app from the App Store or Google Play and get your news anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back. According to the Maine Audubon, around 988 million birds die every year across the U.S. due to collisions with windows. And now a coalition of Mainers is trying to reduce that number. Bird Safe Maine is a collaboration between the Maine Audubon, University of Southern Maine, and the Portland Society of Architecture. The groups have been working together for 4 years to raise awareness and potential solutions.
Birds don't know what windows are, right? And humans are constantly trying to understand what our impact is on the environment and trying to reduce our impact. Birds don't know what windows are and then accidentally fly into them. They see reflections of the sky or habitat, or windows are invisible when lit from within, and they collide and die. The good news is that there are tons of ways to make it safer. Anything that lets a bird know that there's a window there and not the habitat or sky is a solution. And that can include things like decals on the windows or insect screens that you install during the summer or paint that your kids paint up there. There's a million different solutions if people just want to start utilizing them.
Lund adds there are a number of businesses throughout Maine that have stepped up to make their buildings safer for birds, and Bird Safe Maine has recognized them with awards. Those companies include LL Bean, Memic, Saddleback Mountain, and Bigelow Laboratory for Ocean Science.
A library in Hamden has fallen into disrepair, but the town council is looking for ways to help fix that. Mary Beckett, who is the director of the Edith Dyer Community Library, says the building has some rotting wood exteriors and deteriorating walls and ceilings. She says it's caused by humidity and lack of airflow near the building, as well as a drainage issue that's caused water damage and made rot even worse. The Hamden Town Council is considering the use of bonds to fund repairs for the library. Residents will have the chance to weigh in on the matter during a public hearing in August. If approved, residents would vote whether to pass the bonds in November.
We've had so much moisture lately.
that the building hasn't been able to breathe, it hasn't gotten enough sunlight, hasn't been able to drain well around the property, and as a result we're having a lot of rot, and so the bond will hopefully mitigate the issues that we're having with that.
Beckett says she is looking into potential community-based fundraisers in the future to help contribute to the cost of those repairs.
Just getting a look at that building, it's just so charming.
Yeah.
And, you love the architecture inside and out, so
The
you hope
detail,
that
yeah.
by whatever means they're able to raise the funds, that they're able to do so.
Yeah, it's an important community fixture, but also it's sort of a piece of history for the community as well. So yeah, you hope that there's a way to preserve it.
Yeah, you really do.
Alrighty.
Well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, Hunter Biden returned to a Delaware courtroom today for opening statements in his federal firearms case.
And pressure continues to build as the world waits for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's response to the latest ceasefire proposal. Those stories and more in the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 comes right back.
Whether it's time to buy or sell your home, Patty Thompson is a name that you can depend on. With over 25 years of experience, your family will be in good hands with Patty Thompson.
Adding comfort and beauty to your home for less is as easy as 1, 2, 3. During Renewal by Anderson's Easy 3Z replacement window event, the time to act is now, because Renewal by Anderson is making it easy and affordable with huge discounts on our exclusive custom replacement windows and our doors, along with special financing options so affordable you won't want to miss out on this event. And to top it all off, professional installation by our certified master installers is always included. Like we said, Easy 3Z. Call today.
And Doug.
Limu, someone needs to customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Let's fly. Chief?
Doug.
Oh, wow. I thought you were right behind me. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Let's face it, getting training and experience is hard, but at Loring Job Corps, we can help. From certifications in automotive technology, obtaining your CDL, or learning building trades, we have you covered. Maybe you prefer joining the high-tech world of computer networking or cybersecurity. We have that as well. Don't delay, get in the driver's seat to your future today. And the best part, Loring Job Corps is free. Receive free training, free meals, and even free housing. Call or go to jobcorps.gov/Loring. Job Corps careers begin here.
There are plenty of good reasons to have a dock at your camper lakefront home and to choose a ShoreMaster premium dock system or floating poly dock system from Hammond Lumber Company. Lightweight and durable, ShoreMaster high-grade aluminum docks are easy to install and maintain, and poly docks are perfect for dealing with deep or fluctuating water levels. Both offer a wide range of available configurations. There's a ShoreMaster or poly dock system that's right for you, and you'll find it at Hammond Lumber Company.
Whether it's time to buy or sell your home, Patty Thompson is a name that you can depend on. With over 25 years of experience, your family will be in good hands with Patty Thompson.
If you've been injured, call Joe. The law offices of Joe Bornstein.
Attorney General Merrick Garland is responding to allegations that he's weaponized the Justice Department against Republicans and conservatives. He is also reiterating his refusal to turn over audio recordings of President Biden's interview with Special Counsel Robert Hur. Garland was the focus of an intense hearing Tuesday on Capitol Hill. Fox's Chad Pergram reports.
Attorney General Merrick Garland mum in the hallway.
Are you going to kind of punch back against what they're trying to do in contempt?
But Garland defiant in the hearing room.
I will not be intimidated.
Republicans contend Garland weaponized the Justice Department against former President Trump.
Many Americans believe there's now a double standard in our justice system. They believe that because there is.
Former President Trump asserted that Garland authorized the FBI to use deadly force during its raid on Mar-a-Lago. But Garland dismisses that characterization.
The document that's being discussed is our standard use of force protocol and was part of the package for the search of President Biden's home as well.
He described GOP accusations of bias as a right-wing conspiracy theory.
An attack on the rule of law tears down people's confidence in the basic fundamental element of our democracy.
Garland said he never personally listened to the audio tape from the interview special counsel Robert Hur conducted with the president, saying the department only altered the transcript to eliminate repetitive or filler words. But Republicans say that's precisely why they want to hear the tapes.
The transcript may be accurate, but you know what? The audio would tell us so much more.
Whether it reveals things about his capacity or his veracity or anything else.
Democrats contend the DOJ just doesn't target Republicans, citing prosecutions of Democratic New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez and Texas Democrat Henry Cuellar. The full House has not yet voted to hold Garland in contempt, and it may never do so. It lacks the votes. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Prosecutors started laying out their case against Hunter Biden on gun charges. On Tuesday, they called their first witness, an FBI special agent, to the stand. Fox's Rich Edson has more.
Hunter Biden returned to a Delaware courtroom Tuesday for opening statements in his federal firearms case. The First Lady, Jill Biden, once again here to support her stepson. Prosecutors opened, telling jurors, quote, "No one is above the law," as they allege Hunter lied on a federal gun form in 2018, swearing he was not a drug user. The defense says the gun form asks whether the buyer is a drug user, not whether they've ever been.
The form does not get into whether or not you've undergone treatment. The form is as ambiguous as it possibly could be written.
The president's son has pleaded not guilty to 3 felony charges. His attorney, Abby Lowell, says Hunter was in denial about his addiction, adding he was abusing alcohol, not drugs, when he bought a small handgun in 2018.
For a while, they were saying that they would argue that he had this brief moment of sobriety, but then Hunter Biden came in and reaffirmed that he was using drugs throughout this period.
After opening statements, prosecutors called FBI Special Agent Erica Jensen to the stand, who said her job was to tie Hunter's alleged addiction to the period when he bought the gun. She's one of several witnesses Special Counsel David Weiss's team plans to have testify.
Family members are going to testify against him. Beau Biden's wife is going to testify about throwing the gun away. And then there's the forensic evidence regarding the cocaine on the gun pouch.
Hunter Biden also faces federal tax-related charges in Los Angeles. That trial begins in September. In Wilmington, Rich Edson, Fox News.
After facing significant political pressure, President Biden issued an executive order to crack down on the number of migrants entering the U.S. illegally. Because migrant encounters are currently high, the border will likely shut down tonight under the new rule. Fox's Rebecca Castor has the latest.
This was the U.S.-Mexico border near San Diego Monday night. More than 200 migrants from countries in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East looking for Border Patrol to start their asylum process, but not before taking selfies in front of the clearly unhindering border wall.
I've come here today to do what the Republicans in Congress refuse to do. Take the necessary steps to secure our border.
After months of calls to take action on the border, President Biden did just that Tuesday, signing off on an order that will temporarily shut down asylum requests if the average number of daily encounters tops 2,500, which is happening right now.
But if an individual chooses not to use our legal pathways, if they choose to come without permission and against the law, they'll be restricted from receiving asylum and staying in the United States.
I talked to President Trump this morning, and he says this is a scam and people will see through it.
Biden officials say the border will shut down at midnight, but critics are not convinced this action will help.
This plan does nothing to stop the asylum abuse, does nothing to stop the parole abuse that this administration has done.
This is too little, this is too late, and the American public knows it's too late.
Biden's executive order comes as polling shows voters think Donald Trump would handle the border better. But Democrats blamed the former president for stopping Congress from passing new border policy earlier this year.
The president is left with little choice but to act on his own.
President Biden's executive order will likely face legal challenges. The ACLU has already announced it will be filing a lawsuit. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Pressure is mounting for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to support a ceasefire proposal put forward by the Biden administration last week. The deal could help bring home dozens of kidnapped hostages, including 8 Americans still held in Gaza. Fox's Trey Yingst has that story.
I was there for 7 weeks and 2 days and treated like I was dirt.
Emotional testimony from former American-Israeli hostage Aviva Siegel, the 63-year-old sharing what it was like to be held captive by Hamas after the deadly October 7th attack.
One of the days we starved for more than 20 hours. After 24 hours of not getting anything, they gave us a half of a pita.
Siegel shared her story during a roundtable meeting with lawmakers on Capitol Hill Tuesday. It brought together the families of 8 American hostages still held in Gaza. Many are rallying behind the latest ceasefire proposal announced by President Biden last week.
Probably the best last chance to get any of our loved ones home.
The meeting came just a day after 4 more hostages were declared dead by the Israeli military. Right now, Israeli officials believe about 80 kidnapped hostages are still alive. Hamas is believed to be holding the remains of 43 others.
It's time for a deal, a ceasefire, and to bring our hostages home.
Pressure is now mounting for Israel and Hamas to accept the terms and end nearly 8 months of conflict. According to the State Department, Israel is on board, even as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces criticism from within his own government.
The proposal on the table is nearly identical to what Hamas said it would accept just a few weeks ago. Israel has said it is ready to implement it, now stands with Hamas.
Netanyahu has yet to publicly accept the deal and has said Israel remains committed to dismantling Hamas before any ceasefire is reached. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
And still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, a new law in New York that is poised to pass would see certain social media algorithms banned.
And the Celtics getting some great news ahead of Game 1 of the NBA Finals. We'll be right back.
Gordon Ramsay and Lisa Vanderpump are searching for the next great food star.
You ready?
Born ready. Food Stars, all new Wednesdays on Fox.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Refine, your local expert in window and door installation, carpentry repairs, and commercial facilities management. At Refine, we're proud to offer Maine-made Paradigm windows crafted with care and precision to ensure quality and durability like no other. From quaint cottages to bustling businesses, let us refine your space with our signature Maine-made touch. Trust Refine to exceed your expectations every time. Contact us today and let Maine craftsmanship elevate your home or business. Rise with Refine.
Great Scott! This is Green Bear 420 in 2010. What kind of trip is this? I gotta get back to 2023. Wait, it's 2015. So much has changed. In 2023, we had a lot more glass, t-shirts, and novelties. It's gonna take a bolt of lightning to get me home. Finally, home at last. Now Green Bear 420, Green Bear Green Care is bigger and better than ever. To be continued.
Do you have a wet basement, nasty crawl space, settling foundation, sinking concrete, or clogged gutters? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basement-y. For over 30 years, thousands of homeowners throughout Maine and southeastern New Hampshire have trusted TC Hafford. Basement waterproofing, crawl space repair, stabilizing foundations, concrete leveling, and gutter installation. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basement-y.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Welcome back. New York lawmakers are poised to pass a new law that could ban certain social media algorithms they say target kids and hurt their mental health. Fox's Connor Hansen has more.
We have to do more for our children because we are losing them as a society.
Experts say too much screen time and certain social media algorithms are hurting children's mental health. States like New York are fighting back.
A lot of these young people know that they're feeling lonelier and isolated and anxiety and depression like they never have before.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul and state lawmakers have been working on legislation that could force major social media platforms to make changes. Instead of algorithms deciding what kids see, companies could be forced to display content to younger users in chronological order. The platforms could also be banned from sending kids alerts late at night unless parents sign off on it. Lawmakers also want to stop companies from selling kids' data.
So the algorithms target children. They repeatedly send messages to them about different topics, whatever they're gearing it toward. And they suck these kids in by sending these repeated algorithms.
Governor Hochul says this will not be a ban, but companies have pushed back, lobbying hard against similar legislation in other states. Some claim the restrictions violate the First Amendment.
We really want our kids to be safe, protected, and we cannot fail them in this.
New York lawmakers could vote on the legislation as soon as this week. A similar law is being worked on in California. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
A middle school science and math teacher in Winterport was honored with a prestigious award, one that will help her students learn and grow as budding scientists. Our Callie Warren takes us to Samuel L. Wagner Middle School.
This is Mrs. Pohl's class. Students that have her in the future will be able to experience more direct learning after she was selected as one of 9 2024 National STEM Scholars.
So remember I said
And she's the only one selected from Maine.
I have this project that I've been wanting to fund forever about solar panels, so I said why not try it, and they selected me. I have $2,000 that I'm able to spend on getting the equipment necessary to bring that kind of learning into my classroom.
As part of the award, Pohl recently wrapped up a week of professional development in Kentucky, where she learned things she says she's passing on to her students.
It's a great week full of learning, exploring hands-on learning, support for our projects, and great collaboration with all the other teachers there.
She's using funding awarded to her from the STEM Scholar program for more learning opportunities.
Definitely the hands-on learning, that's going to be amazing for them next year.
Representatives from the STEM Scholar program say that middle school is a pivotal time for students to think about future careers, but almost 50% of American 8th graders lose interest in pursuing STEM subjects.
We don't have enough people going into STEM, so we need to spark that interest now. And middle school is the time to spark the interest.
Pohl's students say they're excited she got the award.
It's really cool how she was able to get this opportunity because she's such a great teacher.
And they say they're looking forward to learning more about science.
We haven't explored anything yet.
In Winterport, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Mainers are packing their bags and heading to Japan to study the country's kelp industry. Our Doug Banks visited Maine Coast Sea Vegetables to speak with 2 of those travelers.
Specifically Hokkaido, which is the northern island of Japan. This is really where it all started, in my opinion.
Shep and Serafina Earhart are part of a group leaving from the United States on Thursday to visit Hokkaido, Japan, to study their wild and farm-raised kelp industry.
I'm grateful because that aquacultured sugar kelp is exactly what's taking us to Japan.
Made possible through the Builders Initiative to Coastal Enterprises Incorporation, their journey will be focused in the Hakodate region.
Learning from people who've been doing this for a lot longer than anybody here, and who think about seaweed in a really different way than the U.S. generally does.
Founded by Shep and Lynette Earhart in 1971, Maine Coast Sea Vegetables has become one of the most recognizable names in the North Atlantic seaweed industry.
1971, we sold a few pounds of it, I guess. One thing led to another, and now, this.
This trip will not only be a good opportunity to learn about the Japanese wild and farm-raised kelp industry, but it's a trip that helped bring together a culture found right here in the United States.
For Maine to be really successful, or the United States, if we make it beyond Maine, we're going to need to diversify this fishery too. And there are people actively working on how we're going to aquaculture or farm some of these other species.
Well, I'm really honored to have this opportunity to do this. It's in many ways, a dream come true.
In Hancock, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Alrighty, so the full 5-day is coming up. Hopefully plenty of sunshine in our future, but not entirely sure.
Yeah, it sounds like we could get thrown a bit of a mixed bag. Stay tuned for all those details.
Well, this was fun. High temperatures up near 80 for most locations again today. Tomorrow, same story, but then some big changes are on the way. A lot of rain and much cooler temperatures. Details on that when I come back.
What the schmobble is doing.
Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Van Sickle Kia, has the plug-in hybrid that takes you farther. Choose from an all-wheel drive plug-in hybrid Kia Sportage, Sorento, and plug-in hybrid Niro. You get all-electric power for shorter trips and gasoline hybrid flexibility for your longer drives. Go from Bangor to Providence in one trip. No stops needed. Whether it's your 20-minute commute to work or yearly road trip, Van Sickle Kia has the plug-in hybrid that gets you there at Van Sickle Kia. And best of all, every new Kia at Van Sickle comes with Kia's 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business.
The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. I'm Peter Van Sickle. I guarantee it.
It was one thing when my mom got Alzheimer's, but then we started noticing things that seemed off. She developed agitation that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Sometimes she'd fidget with her fingers, get suddenly overwhelmed, and even throw things. And that was just never her. So we asked her doctor what else we could do.
Rexulti is the only FDA-approved medication proven to reduce agitation symptoms that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke, report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur.
Rexulti helped reduce my mom's symptoms.
Take action for your loved one. Ask their doctor about Rexulti.
Family owned and operating in the Bangor area for more than 10 years. Crosby's Welding is here to help you. We specialize in steel, stainless steel, and aluminum welding and fabrication. We serve many of the local industries from Maine lobstermen to the commercial trucking industry and everything in between. Fully mobile on-site construction services right down to custom signs and fire pits. Fast, friendly, reliable service. Give us a call today for a free estimate, 974-7815.
I can see your voice! America's favorite guessing game is back. I Can See Your Voice, Thursdays on Fox.
Here we go. Your full weather is brought to you by Washington County Community College. Discover choices and create success. Let's talk about the weather out there today. Highs up near 80 here in Bangor, also for Millinocket. 71 for Bar Harbor. So sorry, but overall, we'll do it all over again tomorrow. And then some cooler temperatures are on the way with some rain showers back in the forecast for us on Thursday as well. There could be a couple light rain showers across the area for tomorrow. The wind, not a factor today out of the north, around 5 miles per hour. We got this tonight, though. It'll likely go calm for a couple hours. That could give us some dense fog after midnight. And then overall tomorrow come back around 10 to 15 miles per hour throughout the afternoon. So it will not be a very windy stretch for us at all, especially into probably Thursday or Friday. There are no advisories posted right now. However, there could be a dense fog advisory tonight. So if you're driving, 3, 4, 5 a.m., be ready for that tomorrow morning with that dense fog across the area once again. All right, so lots of clear skies throughout the day today, and then a couple high clouds are in there. There could be a quick sprinkle tonight. This is the leading edge of our next weather system across the area. It's over here. That, though, is just the beginning. So tomorrow, it begins to get a little messier across our region where there could be a stray shower across the area. About 20% coverage on that. Most of us will stay dry tomorrow. And then all of this gets in here, right? There's a big mess in the west across the Great Lakes and the Midwest. This is all kind of moving in our direction. And it's moving incredibly slowly, which means once it gets here early Thursday, we have rain showers in the forecast for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and some of that rain could be locally heavy. Let's walk you through it. So tonight, no issues at all. There could be a couple areas with some light rain shower activity tomorrow. This model, I think, is overdoing it. Just know there could be a couple rain showers across the area tomorrow, and then increasing clouds tomorrow evening. Here comes the main event getting in here, not really Thursday evening, but more so after midnight Thursday night into Friday. Any of this could be some locally heavy rainfall rainfall throughout the day on Friday with some lightning and thunder in there as well. And then it kind of stays with us for Friday into Saturday into Sunday. And again, any of this could be some locally heavy downpours across our area. With the system kind of moving with the whole area here. You can see rainfall adding up. You can see probably a widespread 1 to 2 inch rainfall on the way. And a couple areas could easily see closer to 3. Again, not all at once though. It's going to fall over a 3 or 4 day period across our area. Our forecast for tonight, they're looking at partly cloudy skies, a bit muggy out there. Low temperatures down near 54 and a calm wind after midnight. For tomorrow, all right, so partly cloudy again. I went with 83. A couple of us could get stuck upper 70s tomorrow. Kind of humid out there as well. South wind around 5 with a couple of thunderstorms, especially throughout the afternoon across our region. And then looking ahead, your 5-day forecast shows a chance for rain tomorrow, a better chance for rain on Thursday, cooler 73, more rain Friday 69, more rain Saturday 66, and mid 60s on Sunday as well with a chance for thunderstorms.
All right, so definitely going to have to keep an eye on those storms that are approaching towards the end of this week.
Yeah, for sure. Plan accordingly. All right, well, sports is coming up next, folks. Keep it right here.
Your first car, your first edition, and your first edition. We're here to help with all of life's firsts. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
If you're looking to buy or sell a home, chances are you have a lot of questions. Norm Prouty has answers. Learn some tips and tricks and explore some beautiful new homes on the market. The Norm Prouty and Donnell Baker Real Estate Show, Sunday mornings at 8:30 on Fox 22.
An official message from Medicare.
A new law is helping us save more money on prescription drugs. Maybe you can save too. With Medicare's Extra Help program, our drug premiums are zero, and our out-of-pocket costs are low.
I enrolled and I'm saving money. If you're single and make less than $23,000 a year, or are a married couple making less than $31,000, you may qualify and save. Even if you don't think you qualify, it pays to find out.
Go to ssa.gov/extrahelp.
Toyota has more hybrid all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive models than any other brand, like the RAV4 Hybrid with up to a 566-mile total driving range. See your New England Toyota dealer, your hybrid all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
You've lived quite a life. Now, it's time to live it up. We're here to help you enjoy all you've earned. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
Tonight's Sports is brought to you by Diversified Ink Tattoo Studio in Bangor, located in the Penobscot Plaza, providing custom ink by licensed artists for more than 20 years.
In under 48 hours, basketball will be back. Welcome back in, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. The Boston Celtics and Dallas Mavericks tipping off in the NBA Finals at 8:30 on Thursday, and the C's will be at full force once again. Boston expects to have Kristaps Porzingis back for Game 1 of the Finals after being sidelined since April 29th with a right calf strain suffered in the first round against Miami. Obviously, the team is pumped to get him back, and KP himself is excited to contribute in his first ever NBA Finals.
That's incredible. It's incredible. I think just the energy, like everybody's buzzing. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be, even just seeing the amount of people now, it shows the magnitude of this and what's on the line. And the goal is to finish the job.
But obviously, there'll be a little bit of rust, but just not concerned because of the work that he's put in and what he's done in his career and what he's done in this season for us.
looking forward for that getting underway. Let's go to the softball diamond now. Quarterfinals also getting underway this week, and the Old Town Coyotes are red hot heading into the Class B North tournament. The Coyotes started 4-3, but have lost only one game since, on their way to a second-place finish in the region. The team says that the key to their success has really been getting on the board early and scoring first, and they also say that contributing to that hot streak is their ever-growing team chemistry.
I definitely think it's our team chemistry. It's definitely built as the season has gone on. I mean, we've become like sisters, and that's definitely helped us to perform better on the field.
Keeping our energy up in the dugout, we have these chants that we sing, and we just give each other positive feedback, and we all pick up on it. We're all together. We're all on the same page. Therefore, like, we make great plays, and we know where we're going each play.
Class B North is a very competitive region, as always, with teams like top-seeded Nokomis and the always tough Ellsworth. The Coyotes enter with the mindset of just playing every game like it's their last, and if they keep that up, they feel like they can bring home their first regional crown since 2018.
Being available for anybody that needs, help moving forward, and just leaving mistakes in the field and leaving mistakes at the plate.
We need to capitalize on stealing bases, swinging our bats early, and getting runs. It'd be the greatest feeling I've ever felt.
Staying on the high school field, in some preliminary and quarterfinal matchups also getting going on Tuesday. Starting in Herman with some baseball, Hawks and Belfast Lions battling in the Class B prelims. Top of the first, Belfast gets going early. Runner on third for Gary Gale, and he lines it into left. That is going to bring home a run. Lions led 2-0 after one. To the fourth, Lions up 3-0. Gavin Scripture at the dish for the Hawks with a duck in the pond. He plays Max Hopkins. Hawks would score 3 in the inning to tie it up. 4-3 now in the fifth. Braden Ladd at the plate with 2 runners on, and he drives one into left field. Scripture scores. Maddox Kinney comes around and slides in safely. Herman wins it 7-3 is your final. Now to a Class C baseball prelim, 9-seed George Stevens visiting the 8-seeded Orono. Bottom 5, Riots up 5-4 with a man on second. Matt Allen puts it in the dirt. Brady Pert grabs it and gets it to first for the out. Inning over. What a play right there. Top 6, Orono's Jack Brewer up against Cam Walden. Check swing, and he went on that high heat. Nice pitch right there. Top 7 now. Here we go. Brewer gets Skylar Carter to chase with the off-speed pitch for the strikeout. Brewer was dealing late in the game. Next batter is Pert, and he pops it up. Brewer under it, grabs it to end it. A complete game for Jack. Orono wins it 5-4. All right, let's stay at Orono. Class C North boys quarters between 8-seed Dexter and top-seeded Red Riots. Here's third singles. Orono's Cooper White lobs one into Cole Doherty, but Doherty puts it where no one can get it for the point. Nice return right there. Later, Doherty with it again with the return, but White stays at the net, and he is going to block this one for his point. Doherty, though, would win the match. Second singles we go. Orono's Nick Agrawal, a fast serve to Aiden Langlace. Too much for a return. Agrawal wins that match. On to first singles we go now. Orono's Henry Butens sends it in to Jason Bowden, but Bowden can't control, and it is out. Butens wins the match, and the Riots win 4-1. All right, to the lacrosse field now. Keep this train rolling. Bangor hosting Bonnie Eagle in a Class A prelim, all tied at 2. Look at the ball movement from the Rams. Chase Karen to Miles Randall to Marc-Andre Perron, and he finds the net. Bangor takes a 3-2 lead. 4-2 now. Here come the Scots. Connor Crunkala turning on the Jets, outrunning the whole defense for the goal. Bonnie Eagle back within 1. Second quarter. Here comes second quarter. This is actually Miles Randall. Fires it with the left. That one goes. Rams advance to the quarters. They win it 14-9. And over to Husson University for another Class A prelim. South Portland Red Riots taking on Hamden Academy. Second quarter, Hamden down. Bryce Gordon charging on. Look at the save from Matt Shane to keep him at bay. Still in the second, Beckett Melhorn coming from behind the net. Jumps, turns, and fires, scores top shelf. Lacrosse's Derek Jeter right there. Melhorn again here. He's going to find Ian House, gets through traffic, and gets it to go. Riots win 16-7. And that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Hello, fellow flyers. I'm the Savvy Traveler, here to share the secrets of convenience at Bangor International Airport. Parking, you're steps away from the terminal. Inside, even more conveniences. And friendly, efficient security. All of these make BGR the official airport of you. Remember, the Savvy Travel through Bangor International Airport. FlyBangor.com.
Protect your vehicle from rusting away with Bell's Automotive Protection. We are the leader in mobile undercoating and rust proofing in Maine. We'll travel right to your driveway using the best and safest products on the market. This is much safer than rubberized coatings that can cause damage later on. We spray all types of vehicles, including commercial fleets. We all know vehicles aren't cheap anymore. Don't let the harsh winter chemicals eat them away. Call us or visit our page for a free quote. 207-659-3805.
When we say it'll be on time, they expect it to be on time.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep those expectations with reliable ground shipping.
Thanks, Brandon.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
Upset stomach? Iberogast. Indigestion? Iberogast. Bloating? Iberogast. Thanks to a unique combination of herbs, Iberogast helps relieve 6 digestive symptoms to help you feel better. 6 digestive symptoms, the power of nature. Iberogast.
And Doug.
Limu, someone needs to customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Let's fly. Chief?
Doug.
Oh, wow. I thought you were right behind me.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Tired of your internet service constantly letting you down? Those other providers may promise the world with their flashy advertisements, but are you truly having a good customer experience? Fear not, because there's a new player in town. Introducing GoNet Speed. No more endless hold times or automated responses. We're here to listen, support, and provide you with the exceptional service you deserve. Our fast, reliable fiber internet, it's mind-blowing. Let us show you what true internet satisfaction feels like.
The Belmont Stakes from Saratoga. This is the test of the champion. Coverage begins Saturday, 4 Eastern on Fox.
Bon Jovi releases new music to rock out to this week with their 16th album, Forever. When we caught up with the band, we asked them all about the new tunes, plus they spoke about potential touring plans and more. Here's our Ashley Dvorkin.
Legendary rockers Bon Jovi are keeping the party going for their 40th anniversary as a band. First was the premiere of their career-spanning Hulu docuseries, Thank You Goodnight, The Bon Jovi Story, on Hulu. Now it's time for their 16th album, Forever, June 7th. John Bon Jovi shared how this new music is about finding joy.
Finding joy again in the comfort of knowing that every day you can get up and put another foot forward, and you have the camaraderie of people who believe in you and people that you love in your life, and all of those things, it keeps you optimistic.
Along with new tunes comes talk of potential tours. John has been open about his recent throat surgery, which was also included in the docuseries. He clarified where any tour plans stand now.
Whether or not it's a full tour, would you plan on doing live shows in support of the new music?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. I think that now that we're talking about it and people are realizing that this throat surgery happened, let me be clear. I can sing again. Mm-hmm. Our bar, as we call it, the bar that we have to hold up, is that we want to be able to do the 2.5 hours a night, 4 nights a week. So that's what I'm striving for. Making this record was not difficult. It was time consuming, but not difficult. And a year since some of those demos to now, leaps and bounds, in my recovery. But until we're at a place where it's 2.5 hours a night, 4 nights a week, where I can just wake up like it's another tour and not be worried about my health, that's when we'll decide to go.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
All right, so some exciting news on the way for Bon Jovi fans. Well, meanwhile, kitten season is in full swing at Hancock County SPCA. Currently, there are more than 30 kittens residing at that shelter. In an effort to find them all loving homes, they're hosting a kitten shower on Saturday, June 8th, to get those little ones some exposure.
In the past month, we've taken in over 75 mother cats and kittens, so we have lots of little adorable felines looking for their forever home.
The kitten shower is free to attend, but donations are highly encouraged to help offset the cost of caring for them. For more information, you can visit the Hancock County SPCA website.
Oh, that is dangerous for me. Well, finally tonight, a dog shelter in Quebec is looking to expand its services in a way that you might not have imagined. Instead of just rescuing canines from kill shelters, Give a Dog a Home Rescue is going one step further. The nonprofit is looking to start a freeze-dried food program called Preserve and Provide that will benefit pets and people too. Our Jody Hersey has the details.
Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? You know, for everybody, you could be very comfortable one day and broke the next day.
Jenny Cope, owner and founder of Give a Dog a Home Rescue in Quebec, sees firsthand how pet owners in Piscataquis County and throughout Maine are struggling to get by. So she came up with the idea of freeze-drying meat and other treats for dogs, as well as fruits and vegetables for humans.
So I've come up with a program, we're calling it Preserve and Provide. We've got a freeze dryer and we're going to be starting freeze drying food, candy, treats, fruits, vegetables.
Cope purchased a medium-sized freeze dryer, which she uses for apples, bananas, sweet potato, and other items that would normally have a short shelf life. Then she seals them in airtight packages. However, she'd like to build a commercial kitchen here where she can freeze dry more products for Mainers in need.
Also, once we've got a commercial license, we can also sell things, which means that we can bring money in to help compensate the cost of running the program. But obviously, we want to also be self-sufficient to some extent.
Cope says products that are freeze-dried maintain a lot of their nutritional value. Cope is applying for grants and hoping volunteers with building experience will help her commercial kitchen become a reality. She has also set up a fundraiser on the Give a Dog a Home Facebook page in hopes of raising the funds needed.
My kind of goal is to offer everything to everybody. You know, just because you might not be able to afford something doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to have it in regards to nutrition and things like that.
In Quebec, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All those adorable faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of warms my heart and like hurts a little at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, you know, it gives you some hope hearing her message.
Yeah.
You know, she just wants to help everyone, whether you have 2 legs or 4 legs.
Yeah, she's not discriminating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's executing that mission. So
yeah.
It's just great to see that progress. And hopefully we can follow her story as it progresses, too.
Yeah, and here's hoping she finds a way to kind of complete her new mission and continue with the one she already has.
Let's hope.
Alrighty, folks. Well, that is going to do it for us. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, take care and have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
For more local news coverage, switch over to our sister station, ABC 7, right now for ABC 7 News at 11.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes, and as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera.
gets a visit from Vice President Kamala Harris, plus the Bears' Abby Elliott. Later.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you.